Hi, everyone. Welcome to our webinar today. I'm Anu. I'm a career coach. I help people make better choices and get greater success with their careers. Today, we are discussing the topic of behaviors, traits, and mindsets and how they impact our career success. So diving into the topic, we will be, just to talk about the agenda, we will be talking about behaviors, traits, personality models, the big five or the ocean model, hexaco, impact of these traits and what actions can we take and whether personalities can actually derail our careers. So we know that the behaviors are what we observe at the surface. That's how we interact with the world. It's an expression, but many things drive our behavior and they're not so visible. And those are our mindsets, experiences, our values, assumptions, personality traits, which are all influencing our behaviors. So it's important we understand what these things are and why we behave in certain ways and whether there can be some consequences for these behaviors. So we often describe people in many different ways, like confident, responsible, thoughtful, helpful, or not so helpful, incompetent. It can go in the positive or negative direction. So what are these words? These are personality traits, and there are about 18,000 words that can be used to describe people. And personality traits are actually what differentiates us from each other. So it's the meaningful differences between people. And these differences come from our DNA, our culture, and basically our environment. So it's how we were raised, apart from our genetics and the environment, the cultural, regional, other situational environment that we are raised in or we experience through our lives, the work environment, the home environment, the social environment, all of that affects our personality traits. So now let's talk about the big five or the ocean model. It's the most widely accepted personality theory held by psychologists. And it states that personality can be boiled down to 5 core factors, which are openness, conscientiousness, extroversion, agreeableness, neuroticism. So openness meaning openness to experience, which is demonstrated by curiosity, creativity, appreciation of new ideas and experiences. Conscientiousness means a need to do things right, being organized, being responsible, be careful and hardworking and follow the rules. Extroversion is how we interact with the other humans, our sociability and assertiveness. Agreeableness, again, is compassion, respect, trust, and the tendency to go along with others. Neuroticism depicts tendencies that are more sensitive, negative emotions, anxiety, depression, those kind of things. And we have some words to show here. So a high score on openness would include words like very curious, the wide range of interests, independent. For conscientiousness, the high score would be around hardworking, dependable, organized. The low score would be impulsive, careless, disorganized sort of person. Similarly, on extroversion, it would be outgoing, warm, seeks adventure, but quiet and reserved on the other end. And agreeableness, we would be helpful, trusting, empathetic, or critical, uncooperative, suspicious. And then neuroticism could be anxious, unhappy, and a low neuroticism score would be calm and even-tempered. So we all have these traits on a continuum. So we have more of something and less of something. It's not that we have it in an extreme, and we have all of this to some degree. Now, the hexaco model has just added basically the H to it, which is the honesty, humility, which is considered quite important in a personality trait. It reflects the degree to which we promote our interests above those of others. So are we humble? Are we honest? And are we treating people equally and their ideas with equal respect? Now, what can be the impact of personality traits? One is that, of course, it impacts the choice of career. For an adventurous, extroverted person, a quiet desk job might not be the best choice. Or somebody who is agreeable can work in bigger teams and do more projects which involve other people. But for a less agreeable personality, it might be not an independent role. An individual contributor role might be more suitable. Though today there are hardly any jobs where you don't need agreeableness and teamwork. So it's quite an important trait now. And yes, there is enough studies to show that it can impact career success. Professor Landis of UCL has said that every trait has a bright side and a dark side. So low consciousness, for example, is helpful in jobs that require flexibility and a willingness to improvise than following the rules. For example, a jazz musician doesn't have to follow that many rules. He can improvise. So low conscientiousness can work for a jazz musician, but maybe not for a doctor or a manager. And often we find statistics are showing that we make certain bad decisions, but we all make them, but it's things that we do repeatedly because of our personality that drives some of the outcomes we experience in life. So if our personality makes us behave in a way that we end up with the same outcomes a few times in a row, then people notice, it begins to impact our career success. If we don't get along and we are not able to deliver the results, it gets noticed that there is always, lack of agreement, and hence the projects are not delivered. It will at some point begin to affect our careers. Also, the Texas University conducted a study in 2015, and they found that personality traits, when activated in the right situations, result in increased job performance. And they can be considered in a number of contexts, including the evaluation of employees' roles and that of design of policies. However, that depends on organization to organization, how they use this information and how far they take this personality type evaluation into consideration. However, we can do it ourselves. We can get our personalities assessed before we start a new job or while we're on a job and we feel that something is not quite right, or we would like to understand what our personality strengths are and how to best use. We can always get a personality assessment done, and it would help answer some questions for us. It was found by Professor Landis that highly conscientious, emotionally stable people tend to see more success at work. So, and we might agree with this from what we've observed in our experiences so far. So what actions can we take? One is get a personality assessment. We do some self-monitoring and observe ourselves in various situations and see what kind of behaviors are being appreciated, what are not. We should take some feedback from people, understand their perception, and of course, adapt and learn new behaviors. So really, that's what I had to share with you today. And I welcome you to get in touch with me for personality assessments or any queries you have around your career and how better you can do with your personality, with your skills, and just to grow in your career. So thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope to hear from you. Thank you.